For the next few moments, we're going to have a discussion. We will have a discussion that is going to change the way you live, the way you talk, and the way you walk. It is going to change the way you think about yourself and others. If you've had low self-esteem, if you struggled with tons of insecurities, if there are relationships that you have always wanted to mend, perhaps an absentee father or an estranged mother, if you have had dreams that you have given up on, then I want to help you. Maybe your dream is to start a small diner or open a tire shop. Maybe your dream is to own a franchise, invent a product, learn a foreign language. Maybe your dream is to go to college or finish college. Maybe you want to be a teacher or a doctor, a scientist, or even a lawyer. I want to show you some notes to get you there. We're going to talk about the upbeats and the downbeats of life and how you can learn to play your melody. And As You Like It, a play written by William Shakespeare, the character Jacques says the following: all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. And one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. Shakespeare offers a metaphor to the listener. He compares the stages of one's life to the different roles an actor plays. In Old English usage, a player was an actor. The player played roles. I agree with Shakespeare that the world is a stage and that everyone is a player. But what we play are melodies. We play music. My goal is to use your melody as a metaphor for living the life that you were designed to live, using your talents and strengths in a way that gives your life meaning, significance, and connection. Everyone loves music. If I were to sing Otis Redding's "While She May Be Weary, Young Girls Do Get Weary," or Marvin Gaye's "Whoa, ah, mercy, mercy me," whether I were singing in a language that you understood or not practically, you could find a way to enjoy the beauty that is music. The unfettered connection and union of souls when music is created from the heart of one person and glides to the heart of another. In other words, music is a universal language. Some have said that music is the universal language. Plato said, music is a moral law. It gives soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and charm and gaiety to life and to everything. We do well to learn from Plato, then, that music gives life to the universe. Without it, the world would be filled with atoms and rocks, waters without movement, fields of green without winds to blow through them, hearts without love, and a life without meaning. Shakespeare said, "If music be the food of love, play on." He understood that music had even the power to move the heart, the passions, like wind in a sail. I will never forget how music moved my wife and I on one Valentine's Day a few years ago. 9 months later, my youngest son was born. Music not only enhances our quality of life, as Plato thought, and moves the heart, as Shakespeare believed, but it also has biological benefits as well. It has powerful effects on the body as well. Did you know that your heartbeat changes depending on the music you listen to? And that flowers can grow faster by listening to music? But it gets better, because not only is music the universal language, not only does it enhance life and move the heart and have powerful effects on us, we have music in us. All of us do too. You might not think so, but before Beethoven struck a chord, before Luciano Pavarotti sang with the 3 tenors, the music they had was in them. And the music we have is in us. And I would like to suggest to you some ways that you can begin to express your music. In other words, I want to show you how to play your melody. What is your melody? And why should you play your melody? Your melody is that purpose which you were born to fulfill. It is your gift to the world, and you should fulfill this purpose. You should play this melody because the world will not be the same without it. In this symphony of life, we all have our parts to play. You should play your melody because some of us never hit the stage. Some of us never contribute. Dr. Miles Monroe has rightfully said that the richest place in the world is in the grave, because it is in the grave that you find all the unused talent, all of the unrealized dreams, all of the potential which could have been used to make this world a better place. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not only important that you play your melody, but it is necessary. Something will be missing from the universe if you don't discover your music. But like many things, playing your melody is far easier said than done. If everyone knew how to play their melody, then 13 out of 100 people would not commit suicide annually in America. The number of depression diagnoses wouldn't increase by 20% every year. Because as Hans Selye has said, a long, healthy, and happy life is the result of making contributions, of having meaningful projects that are personally exciting and contribute to and bless the lives of others. So I want to share with you how you can play your melody, because if we all played our melody, then the entire world would find their meaning and purpose in life through our God-given talents and contributions. As players on this world stage, as musicians in life's symphony, we play melodies. All melodies are made up of upbeats and downbeats, and the notes that make up the melody. The upbeats are the achievements in our life. The downbeats are the obstacles, trials, the struggles that we overcome. And the notes of your melody are your gifts and talents that form your part in life's symphony. These are the notes that contribute to the well-being of others, the notes that only you can produce. Hello, my name is Sean Mixon, and in what follows, I will use my own life as a canvas to paint the context of our discussion. We will discuss the upbeat, that is, life's accomplishments, the downbeats, those are life's challenges, and your melody, your gifts and talents that help you to find fulfillment and meaning, and some practical tips to help you play your melody by sharing with you the notes of fulfillment. For the past 15 years, I have been studying personality and human exceptionalism. I have studied the greatest thinkers in the areas of music, philosophy, speech, communications, and psychology, from Plato to Alvin Plantinga, and great pioneering psychologists of personality like Carl Gustav Jung. I have earned degrees in music and philosophy and have studied extensively in the disciplines of personality and speech. I've learned about human exceptionalism, that is, what makes people great. Personality, the unique ways of thought and behavior of individuals, and the perennial questions that have managed to stick around with us since antiquity. As a husband of nearly a decade, I've learned why some relationships do not last long. And as a father of 3, I've learned how to build wealth and leave your children in a position better than when they entered the world. As an educator of several years, I have learned about the art of teaching, how people learn, and concepts and skills that can improve anyone's learning. I have taught north of 500 students in the areas of goal setting and interest discovery. I'm a recording artist releasing my first album last year. I conduct trainings for schools and businesses in the areas of team building and talent discovery, and I want to help you. I have done this recording because I realize that everyone hasn't had the opportunity to discover their strengths, their talents, whereby they may be successful and find meaning and connection in life. But I want to help you. There are certain keys that I have learned along the way, and I'll share those with you. But just as there are highs, there are lows. Just as there are upbeats, there are downbeats. And my life has not always been where it is today. For the next few moments, I would like to share with you some of my struggles, some of my challenges that I've had to overcome. For most of my life, I remember my father being in jail or somewhere else outside of our home. What is most notable is that he was not there. And as a kid, you want your father. You want the person who gives confidence to your mind, confidence to your spirit, the person who shows you who you are and gives you identity. But unfortunately, that was not the case. You see, my father was on drugs, and addiction ran in my family. His father was an alcoholic. My grandfather passed away when my father was 12. He told my dad that he would be dead in 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, he was gone. This destroyed my father. It broke his heart. His 12-year-old fragile mind could not understand the complications of life, and he believed that his father had left him, abandoned him on purpose through death. My father was a talented musician. At the age of 5, he walked to a piano and began playing familiar melodies. He had no formal training and no teacher. As he grew, he began to play for other famous and notable artists. He played for artists like Cameo. He toured with artists like Johnny Taylor. But unfortunately, the fast life got the best of him, and eventually he succumbed to a life of addiction, an addiction that he tried to escape from his own father. But just like my 2 fathers before me, I had my own struggles, for I was addicted to low self-esteem. I was addicted to a feeling of nobodiness, a feeling that agged me for most of my life. I remember long periods of my life feeling sorrow, feeling loneliness, feeling like I could not connect with others, like there was something, a wall, as it were, that separated me from people, from friends within my community, from children at school, from the members of my church. Everywhere and always, I was alone. I recall times viewing the happiness of other children, looking at 2 friends speak, laugh, and enjoy the company of one another, and thinking to myself, I wonder how that feels. Why can't I have that? What's wrong with me? And what's wrong with me became my mantra. You see, I wrote songs expressing the brokenness of my heart and my spirit. A song like, "It's so hard to be me when it's me I'm trying to be. I know it's hard to be me." But I also wrote songs that tried to encourage myself from the depression. Songs like, "You can't bring me down. I come too far and I won't stop now." You see, I lived life as a broken person, afraid to show the world my cracks, afraid to be vulnerable, afraid to admit that I needed help, afraid to admit that I needed love too. Another challenge was poverty. Poverty was a huge challenge in my life. You see, my mother was not a college graduate. She was born and raised in the project section of West Dallas, and her mother had struggled to raise 7 girls and 1 boy. Just as my dad's father died when he was younger, my mother's father left them when she was younger. They made up an endless cycle of abandonment and loneliness without anyone to break it. The one time I saw my mother's father, he was crippled, in a wheelchair that was worn and damaged and torn. On his face, he wore the expression of sadness, the expression of guilt and regret, the expression that comes from a lifetime of reflection on the mistakes that one has made. As soon as we exited the car, we looked at this older gentleman who had a handicap and was crippled. And he cried literally all day, regretting the decisions that he had made, realizing that he had a family that he had missed the majority of their lives. A few years back, my family and I discovered that my grandfather had passed away in a nursing home, and he was alone. Another challenge was government assistance. You see, we had Section 8. Should a kid know about government assistance? I'm not sure. As a teacher, I've noticed that many of my students typically do not know about their living circumstances. They typically don't know how much their rents are or how much their parents make, etc. But I did. My siblings and I knew that we were poor. We knew that some months the rent wasn't paid or the lights would soon be off. Another government assistance was food stamps. I remember proudly going into the store near my elementary school with a very colorful assortment of food stamps. They looked like Monopoly money. They would come in a variety of colors, and I learned very quickly that you could not buy everything with these stamps. You could only purchase food. My mother courageously chose to withdraw herself from government assistance. She was determined to make as much money as she wanted and not be told how much money she could make with Section 8. I had such great feelings of insignificance. From whence come feelings of insignificance? I mean, no one tells you you're not important, hopefully. Maybe it comes as the result of circumstances that promote comparison. In every circumstance, I would compare myself to other people. At the grocery store, I would compare myself to those persons who had cash and could thus purchase groceries and other products, besides the food stamps, which limited me to food only. At church, I would compare myself to the families of those members who had played a crucial role in the development of the church organization of which I was a member. I would often wonder about the purpose of my life. Why was I me? Was a question I often asked. I had a nagging feeling that did not resemble the circumstances that I found myself in. I was poor, but something told me I had great wealth. People treated me as some insignificant accident of an organism, but I felt like I was on this earth for a reason. I had a sense of purpose within, but everywhere I turned, I was treated as something at the very bottom of the totem pole. I was treated as the ground on which the totem pole stands. In church, the ministers were important, but I wasn't. In school, the popular kids were significant, but I wasn't. In my family, my eldest brother was the one everyone loved and talked about, but I was the one everyone hated and talked about. But I had made steps towards greatness. I learned notes along the way. And As You Like It, a play written by William Shakespeare, a character named Jacques says the following: all the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. You see, Shakespeare compares the stages of a person's life to the different roles of an actor. In Old English, a player was an actor. They played roles. I agree, the world is a stage, and we are players, but we play melodies. I want to tell you about 3 notes in my life that changed me, producing in me a melody of confidence, connection with others, and fulfillment. First, there was the note of public speaking. My fascination of speakers came as I was a little kid. I remember one of my earliest memories seeing Dr. King speak in the famous documentary, Eyes on the Prize. Walking down the street after viewing Eyes on the Prize, I felt an impression on my heart that the very voice of God was speaking to me, saying that I would do something great for him. And with the context of the day, I understood it to be involving speaking. My fascination with speaking increased. My opportunities to speak began to increase as well. As a child, I attended church quite frequently, and it was in church that I had my first opportunity to minister. It was in church that I had my first opportunity for public speaking. And as I spoke, as I ministered during a children's church anniversary about 20 years ago, I felt a sense of connection. It was in that moment that I realized that I had something to offer that was significant and was valuable to others. I had a special effect on the audience that I had never witnessed from anyone else. I had my own way of touching the heart. The second note was learning to sing. I will never forget. I was at my house alone. I was bored, but I found a white cassette tape. As I played the cassette tape, I remember hearing the most beautiful voices. They sounded as the angels in heaven themselves. And I later discovered that one singer in the group name was Sam Cooke. And it was Sam Cooke that moved me to sing. There was something in his voice, the way his voice touched my heart, the way his voice tended to show the pain of his experience, the hope of a brighter future. It moved me. And I too realized that I had something to express, that I had something to share with the world, that I could touch others. So I began to practice every day. I would practice with the goal of perfectly emulating Sam Cooke. My dad and my mom struggled to hear me as I struggled to learn. Many doors were closed, but they continued to be supportive. I began to research Sam Cooke and wanted to hear everything he had recorded. Gospel, R&B, soul, whatever he released. And I remember having my first opportunity to sing at church. I sang in the youth choir and auditioned for a song. I remember closing my eyes and singing the way I had practiced. 5 minutes later, I opened my eyes to a standing ovation. The response was overwhelming. People developed newfound senses of appreciation for me. I began to feel a sense of connection for the first time with other people in my community. I felt a sense of significance because I had something valuable to offer them. I was not someone to overlook. I was not a flower without a color, a bee without a wing. I had something to offer. Another step that led me into playing my melody was learning to play the guitar. I received my first act guitar, a small guitar for children, during Christmas. My dad was out of jail and he was working at the local Goodwill. And while there, he managed to purchase a small guitar, a first act guitar for beginners. And he gave it to me for Christmas. He didn't really think that I would learn to play it, but I played the guitar and I practiced. For 4 hours a day, for the first 4 years, I practiced the guitar. I learned right-handed first, and then since I was a left-handed writer, my father thought that I would be more unique if I learned to play left-handed, the way Jimi Hendrix did. So I turned the guitar, restrung the guitar so that it was a left-handed guitar, and taught myself to play all over again. And I will never forget the opportunity came to play. And I had the same effect on people that I had always had when I used my gifts. When I practiced, when I expressed the passion in my soul, the beauty of my mind. It affected others and it showed me that I had something to contribute. Because it was through my gift of music and speaking that I was able to show the love that was in my soul, to put back some beauty, some light in a dark world. And now I want to offer some suggestions how you can play your melody. Now, a melody is said to be a sequence of notes that are musically satisfying. So the total result of all the notes in a sequence create a melody. My suggestion is that you too can play a melody. There are 6 notes that will allow you to find connection, confidence, and significance in life. The 6 notes of fulfillment. The first note is to be open. I was always searching for something, I know not what. There was a pull or a calling within me, and I searched for it everywhere with endless curiosity. So there are 2 ways to be open. First, you can be open to knowledge. How could you be open to knowledge, you might ask? Well, you can be open to knowledge by simply asking questions. Ask questions. The second way to be open is to be open to experiences. And the way to be open to experiences is by trying different things. Perhaps there's a food that you're interested in trying that you've never tasted. Perhaps there is an adventure that you would like to go on, a country that you would like to visit, a ride at some theme park, a new movie, or a great book. Be open to try different things. Also, we can be open to love. And the way that we are open to love is by giving it. Now, this is far easier said than done. We live in a society and in a world, generally speaking, where most people are not confident. They are not comfortable showing love. Everyone wants it, but few people give it. So be open to giving love. It may mean a handshake to someone, a pat on the back. It may mean a hug, a kiss on the cheek. It may mean a listening ear. It may mean stopping someone who's dropped something. It may mean teaching a young kid who doesn't know how to read quite well. Love comes in many forms. It may mean simply saying thank you after your wife has cooked a delicious meal. It may mean getting out in the yard and doing yard work. It may mean helping an elderly person to walk across the street, or giving someone a card on their birthday, letting them know that you care. Let us be open to love. And in order to be open to love, we must continually, always show it. The next note is to follow our heart. Embrace those areas of knowledge, practice, and experience that ignites your imagination and passions. You must ignore people who devalue your own interests. Following your heart may mean pursuing areas of interest that your friends and family think are quite ridiculous. But this takes courage. So be courageous. The next note is to study your interests. Learn the theory, learn the techniques, identify those excellent and great practitioners of your interests. Practice to apply the knowledge and perfect your skills. No one is great when they begin anything. It takes practice. It takes repetition to acquire skills. The next note is to set goals for your own knowledge and skills. If you're a saleswoman, this may mean setting a personal quota. If you're a singer, set goals regarding how broad you would like your range to be. If you're a teacher, what will be the determining factor of your success? What strategy or method will get you there? What skills or knowledge is needed for you to achieve your goals? Finally, use your gift everywhere. In conclusion, if you apply these notes, using them all together in sequence, then your life will be a beautiful melody of contribution, significance, and connection with your community and the world at large. Your life will be like music for everyone who encounters the sound of your presence. Meaning and significance will overcome any emptiness, despair, and loneliness. The bright rays of purpose will blind any dark insignificance within you. Since I found my purpose by using my gifts, I am so much happier today. I've used my musical talents to release my first EP in 2016. And I am soon to record my first motivational speaking presentation. So I want to encourage you to take the notes of openness, following your heart, studying your interests, practicing, and setting goals together. With these notes, with these steps, you too will play your own melody and live a life of connection and significance.
Hello, my name is Ona Brown. I am actually the Dream Queen, and I'm known as the Message Midwife. I am blessed to be right now in the studio with none other than the great Mr. Sean Mixon, and he is known and building a name for himself in the self-development industry. How are you doing today, Sean?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Thank you for being here. I would like to talk to you today about a body of work that you've created that is helping people to really create the lives that they want for themselves. What is it called?
It's called How to Play Your Melody.
Come on now. I love that. How to play your melody. Now, I'm not a musician. Well, I did play the flute in high school, but how does that relate to someone who doesn't necessarily play any types of instruments?
Well, Ona, the body of work that I've created shows people how to use their natural talents and their natural abilities to find fulfillment and connection in their own lives.
Wow, that is powerful. So, obviously, you must have been through challenges in your own life that inspired you to create this body of work. What was it that made you do this?
Well, personal challenges such as fatherhood, or being a fatherless child, growing up with poverty and having some personal struggles myself, and having to overcome those obstacles and to find significance and meaning and worth within myself.
Wonderful. And so, what would you say is one of the greatest takeaways that a person can gain from this body of work that you've created?
I think I have a message that is for the masses. I have a message that is for the individual who thinks that there is nothing special about them, who feels like they have no talent, no gift, no unique aspect whereby they can contribute to their community, to the society, and to the world at large. I want to let them know that they are special, that they have greatness inside of them. There is something unique, something that no one else in the world can offer the world except for them. And that the world is a symphony and that they have a part to play. And when they play their part, along with everyone else, we can create music.
Wow, that's beautiful. I love that. So there are so many people that go through society feeling voiceless and invisible and feeling unworthy. And so you're saying that at some point in your life you felt that? That's hard to believe.
Well, Ona, yes, I felt low. I felt insignificant. I felt like I had nothing to offer. I felt like something was wrong with me. It actually hurt to be me. I ached living life. It was like I lived life with the kind of ache that comes from a cold, but only the ache was in my soul. Uh, I- it hurt. It hurt. But it was through the struggle. It was through the struggle with the darkness, the struggle with the depression, the struggle with the loneliness and insignificance that I sought to believe in the word that I felt like God had spoken to me when I was 5, when he said, "You're going to do something great for me." And had I not had that word, had I not had that hope, I would not have looked in turn within myself to find the uniqueness that I was born with, the uniqueness that was given to me. For a while, Ona, I was looking all outside of me. I was looking for approval within my friends, within my church, at school, within my community, and in my neighborhood. But it wasn't until I looked for the approval of my gifts that showed me that I had meaning and significance and something to contribute to the world, that allowed me to build upon my self-esteem, to get rid of that low self-esteem and to throw it away. And today I'm a new person. I'm not the person I used to be. I don't think like I used to think. I don't talk like I used to talk. My mind has been changed. And it was through finding my gifts and basically seeing how that gift affected others and seeing that in their reaction, they showed that, you know what, this is something that you're good at. And oftentimes I tell people all the time, if they want to find out what their gift is, if you don't know what your gift is, what you do is you look around at your effect on other people. What is the thing that people always say they love when you do? What is the thing that you always get compliments when you do? That is a clue to what your gift is. And in my presentation, I want to help people to begin to find those clues and to exercise their gift so that they can find their connection and get rid of that low self-esteem.
Powerful and such a needed work, the work that you're doing. And I believe that it's a message that's for the world. It doesn't have any type of boundaries or limitations because having traveled nationally and internationally, one of the things that I realize is that people, all of them have some dream that's hidden or tucked away in their reality. And oftentimes they just don't know how to access it, or they don't believe that it's possible for them, or they believe that it's only for the other people, not for me. And so I love the fact, what I like about your story is you're like the comeback kid. You turned it around.
That's right. Like the Karate Kid
Yes.
doing the dragon kick on my insignificance and loneliness. And you're absolutely right. Growing up, we see friends, we see family members, we see members of the community who will tell you the story that I used to be, I was going to be. And I begin to notice that they never were.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not want to have the story of I used to want to be a fashion designer. I was going to school to be a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not. They're not. I wanted to have a story that I am, a story of accomplishment that I did. And just like Gone with the Wind, when the scene where one of the leading stars says, I could have been a contender. I don't want that to be me. I don't want to regret what I didn't do. I heard Lucille Ball says that she never regretted the things that she did. Only the things that she didn't do. And the thing about a dream is another thing that makes us special, Miss Ona, is that our dreams make us special. No one else has your dream. Your dream is just as unique as you are. And you cannot give up on your dream. Giving up on your dream is like giving up on the air you breathe. It's ridiculous, and it seems impossible to do, but yet and still many people do. They convince themselves that their dreams will never come to fruition, that they can't achieve their dreams, that they cannot go after them. But you have to make up in your mind. You have to determine within yourself that I have nothing to lose. The only thing to fear is fear itself. Mm-hmm. And when you think about fear, you're going to be afraid whether you go after your dream. You're going to be afraid whether you don't. So if I'm going to be afraid, well, I might as well get used to fear and fear on my way up to the top.
One of the things that I love about your story is that you found a way to make a shift from within. And oftentimes I believe that people think that there's something major that has to happen outside of them. But everything starts with you. And it reminds me of a quote by Marcel Proust that says, the only true voyage of discovery is not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. How did you get your new eyes?
Well, Miss Brown, that's a wonderful quote, and that's a wonderful insight. And in answering that question, on the one hand, I got new eyes, but on the other hand, I didn't. In the sense that I got new eyes, or I acquired new eyes in this sense, that I made up in my mind. I made a decision to go after my dream with everything I had. I took off the timetables. Sometimes when we're going after a goal, we set a date. Oh, I need to have this accomplished by the time I'm 23. And I need to have that by the time I'm 25. And what happens often is you reach the age and you still haven't accomplished the goal. So you become discouraged. Mm-hmm. And you begin to give up on your dream. But there was a turning point in me. There was a shift where I made a decision that no matter how long it takes for me to reach my goal, no matter the obstacles, no matter the setbacks, no matter the tears, no matter the pain, no matter the loneliness, no matter the heartache, that I don't care what comes my way, I am going after my dream. My life, I said, will be used to go after my dream. If I'm like Abraham and 100 years old when I have a kid, that's what's going to happen. But I don't want to have a kid. That's not. But the point remains the same. I'm going after my dream. And the sense that I'm still the same is in this sense. There are motivators if we pay attention to our own lives. What motivated me was being the metaphorical underdog, being the person who, at least in my mind, felt like other people counted me out. And I used that to motivate me. Oh, you're going to count me out? Well, I'm counting myself in. It's as a boxing match. It's you versus life. It's you versus the low self-esteem. It's you versus the troubles that you had to overcome. And then when you get knocked down and the referee counts you out, before he gets to 10, you stand up and says, I'm back in, let's go. And you walk towards the referee, you show him your hands, and you get back in the fight. You get back in the fight for your life, the fight for your dreams, the fight for your tomorrow, the fight for a better future for you, your community, your friends, your family, and the world at large. And that's the sense in which I'm still the same. I still kind of feel like some people want to count me out. Some people tell you that they're going to count you out. Some people tell you that you'll never be this and that you'll never be that. But you must be determined to fight for your life and your dreams.
I love what you're saying, Mr. Mixon. And I want to speak to the person that's listening that says, wow, that must be easy for him. He's positive, he's articulate, he's intelligent, he's educated. Because you do have quite a few degrees. You have a beautiful family. You have a success story. You're living the American dream. And so for the person that's listening right now that is in that hole, in that sunken place, what would you say to them to help them to be able to take one step or two steps or three steps to get out, to find their way into their new reality of doing exactly what you're doing, which is fighting for your dream?
Well, I would say to whoever you are out there, the person that doesn't feel like you can achieve your dreams, you can go after them. First, I want to let you know that I love you and that I do what I do for you. That I feel the pain that you feel in your heart. I can almost see through your eyes, as it were. The eyes that watch the successful people on TV and think how lucky they must be. The eyes that looks at the community preacher and thinks that could never be me up there before people. The eyes that looks at people when they drive nice cars and say, I wonder how it feels to have that type of car. I wonder how it feels to have that type of friendship. I wonder how that feels to achieve your dreams. How does it feel to laugh that hard? How does it feel to smile that long? How does it feel to look at yourself in the mirror and not think you're ugly? To not think that something is wrong with you. I want to let you know that I love you, that someone cares about you, that you are not alone. And if you can believe me, if you can believe that you are not alone, then I think you will understand that you can do what I can do. Because if I'm no better than you are, then anything I can do, you can do as well. All you must do is dream. All you must do is take that step of faith. Walk on the nothing that's there. Don't worry about how it's going to be done. Les Brown says, leap and grow your wings on the way down. Mm-hmm. I want to tell you to look up. Because if you can look up,
you can get up.
You can get up.
That's good stuff. Come on now. Okay, so think in terms of the body of work that you've created, how to find your melody in life. What is the first step in that?
The first step is to identify your interests. Our gifts, like the sun, like the stars around the sun, usually gravitate around our interests. So our interests are clues to help us to understand what melody we're here to play. So I think the first step is to find your interests. What turns you on? What opens your eyes and makes them buck? What do you find yourself thinking about often and frequently?
So this was good. So whatever makes your eyes buck, whatever turns you on, whatever is something that you think about in the middle of the night. Look around your house. Look at the magazines that you've purchased. Look at the type of books that you like to read or the type of movies that you like to watch. Why are you obsessed with these things? Why do you find this interesting and that not interesting?
Right.
This is where you start to get clues, and success leaves clues.
Come on now.
But we just have to pay attention.
Right. That's right. Success leaves clues. And like as you say, a clue is only as good as the observer who sees them. If there is no one there to see the clue, then you will not recognize it as a clue. And this, Miss Brown, is why I found that we need people to speak into our lives. We need people to say, you know what? There's something special about you. Someone to see the clue, as it were, that was on your back, that you never could look in the mirror and see it because you've been walking around with it behind you. And someone who is looking at you can see it, but you may not could see it in yourself.
And the thing is, once they see it, they recognize it and they speak to you about it, to be present enough and open enough to receive it.
That's right.
Because someone can tell you till the cows come home, you know what, there's something about you have a presence, or, you know, I just enjoy being in your company, or you always dress so immaculately. Have you ever thought about a wardrobe consulting or being a private shopper? You know, I just seem like you always have money.
Right.
When did you learn how to manage your money so well? Have you thought about creating a course to teach other people to manage their money and build their wealth? Or just the fact that you have the most immaculate garage that I've ever seen in my life. Where did you learn to organize like this? Can you teach people how to organize? I have a friend that she calls herself the clutterologist, and she comes and declutters your space.
Right.
All of these are different gifts that can be lying dormant within us, but if we have to be present. And we have to be open when someone speaks into our life and they tell us what they see.
Right. And that's so true, Miss Brown, because what I found is that oftentimes we believe the story we tell ourselves. And if we have evidence that contradicts the story that's in my mind, if I've always told myself, I'm ugly, I'm not attractive, no one likes me, when someone comes along and says, hey, you're beautiful, you're attractive, if it doesn't match the story we tell ourselves in our head, then we're prone and likely to reject it. Oh, we're prone to be cynical. So, oh, you don't really mean that. That's not true. You're trying to get over on me. I'm ugly. I know it. I know I'm ugly. So you bring up an excellent point, because in order to receive the clues, we have to begin to declutter our minds.
Come on now.
We have to begin to identify that negative story that we tell ourselves. See, it's funny. The word definition is a funny word, because what it really, really means is to set boundaries. So we have to redefine ourselves or undefine ourselves. Take the limits off of ourselves, what we think we can do, what we think we can't do. And I believe once we take those limits off of ourselves and begin to go after our goals with a dogged pertinacity and great tenacity, then we will be able to accomplish those dreams and learn to play our melody.
I love it. And so what I'm hearing you say right now is so important to have key people around you. You want to have quality relationships around you, because people that are present and have wisdom and are observant and are positive and uplifting and encouraging, they can speak life into you. And sometimes you'll have to be in that position, maybe where what Dad has been talking about, Mr. Les Brown, for years, you have to believe in someone else's belief in you.
That's right.
Until your belief kicks in.
That's right. That's so true, and it's important. And I read a quote recently that says, "An example is not the main thing; it's the only thing." If we don't have an example, the story starts and it ends with an example. One of my favorite books says, "Mark the perfect man." You need someone that can show you the way. Relationships. John Stuart Mill says, "No one is an island alone to himself." We're all connected in this garment of destiny, as Dr. King used to quote quite often. And I think that by having those relationships, we open ourselves up to people who can see things in ourselves that we can't see in ourselves, who can check us. Think about Microsoft Word, the spell checker. We need a spell checker in our lives. Something to check us when we're not thinking positively, when we're limiting ourselves, when we have a negative self-concept. And so that just goes to show the importance of those relationships.
I think it's powerful because it's something that oftentimes we take for granted and we don't realize how important it is. And this body of work that you've created, it's something that I'm excited about what you're going to do from a workshop standpoint, a mentorship and coaching standpoint, because there's another quote that I love. It's hard to see the picture when you're inside of the frame. So that means that when a person is in their own life, they can't see the things that you can see. Even if you're in the ring fighting for your dream, your
right.
coach can say, duck,
Come on.
keep your defense up, back away, get some breath, come over here, get some water, get in this corner and get yourself together, and then go back in there and knock him out.
Come on now.
His right is weak. And so you can't see that because you're catching blows. And that's the beauty of people working with you as an advisor, because you've already been there, done that, and got a T-shirt and a keychain to go with it.
That's
And
right.
if you made your way to creating a life where you found the melody of your life, and now you're reaching back with the spirit of Harriet Tubman to say, it's not enough that I'm free and I've got my melody.
That's right.
I want you to get yours.
That's right. That's right. And that's a great point, and it's so true, because a part of my goal, a part of what drives me to do what I'm doing, to show others how to play their melody, is, like I said, it starts with that 4-letter word, love. Love for myself and love for humanity. It's love for myself because I think about the type of kid I was. I think about how I felt, and I can look back and love myself and understand myself and say, I just needed some love. And when I think about you, the listener, when I think about what may have brought you to the point where you are, maybe you say, well, I don't have problems with low self-esteem. But you may be a doubter. You may be confident in everything except for your own dreams. You may be a great helper to other people's dreams, but when it comes to your own, you fall short. I want to let you know that you can do this, that there's nothing special or unique about me that allows me to go after my dream and prevents you from doing. You must make a decision and follow the steps that we're giving in this presentation. And I want to hear from you. I want to see you. I want to be presenting at a conference and have you come up to me and say, I did it. I'm playing my melody. I did it.
Okay, Mr. Mixon, I understand that once you found whatever that thing is, you have to be open to it. And you said the next thing that you do after being open to it is to find your theory,
Well, Miss Brown, we have to learn the theory.
learn the theory. Okay, my apologies. Learn the theory. And how do you do that? What is the theory?
Well, the theory is the content, the knowledge, the fact base that is at the bottom or the basis of any subject or discipline you want to learn. So, for instance, if you're interested in sales, you should understand sales psychology. How does a smile affect people as opposed to not smiling? When to ask for the sale? How to qualify the customers? How to know when they're leading you on? How to know when they're not? How to identify conversations that lead you away from what they're really feeling and thinking? That would be something of the theory. In music, it would be learning your notes, learning your different scales, your major scales, your minor scales, your different chords.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah.
I can't sing, but I'm trying to get you to sing something. Go ahead.
Yeah. Learning the theory. And that's with everything that I've learned over the years, I found that it has a theory behind it. When I began to study singing, I learned the difference between vibrato and a run, the difference between a run and a roll. A run would be, but a roll would be, it's a difference. One is a run, one is a roll. And by having the theory, it allows you to analyze whatever discipline you're in. It allows you to begin to think in terms of the discipline. For every discipline, you can't begin to think in terms of it until you have some vocabulary, some concepts that you can, oh, this is what this speaker is doing. This is what this musician is doing. Oh, they're playing a major 7 chord right here. Oh, they're going to the minor 6 now.
Right.
It gives you a language. By learning the theory, it gives you the language that allows you to think in terms of that discipline and allows you to communicate in terms of that discipline. So often I would see a great musician, an absolutely, fantastic speaker or musician, and, they could play awesome. But when you ask them, hey, how did you do what you did? I don't know. I don't know what I really can't tell you. So they're a great player, but they can't communicate what it is that they're doing. And it's not helpful when you have someone trying to learn it. So we have to learn the theory. It allows us to think in terms of the discipline and to communicate it.
Wonderful. So once you've learned the theory, what else do you need to do? What's the next step?
Well, the next thing to do is to put theory to practice. The only way to become an expert is not to just know the theory, but to practice the theory. This is what separates experts from just novice or people who are music connoisseurs who just love to listen to music. The expert knows what a hammer-on is, and he has done it 10,000 times. So he can do a trill on the guitar, a hammer-on on the guitar. If it's sales, he has his intro memorized. He can present his introduction. He knows when to ask for the sale. He knows when the consumer goes into the objection portion of the sales. It's understanding the content and having practiced the content and developing a level of skill through practice. Many people think that skill and gifts are always given naturally, but that's not necessarily true. The thing about a skill is that skills can get better through practice. Michael Jordan, I heard him say in a commercial one time. He says, they see me when I shoot the last free throw to win the game, but they didn't see me when I was in my garage shooting thousands and thousands and hundreds of basketballs every night by myself, when I wasn't Michael Jordan, when I was just Mike Jordan. And it goes to show that skill is what makes us an expert. And we acquire skill through practice.
That's right. I believe it was Malcolm Gladwell in what was the name of this book? I can't think of it now, but he talked about having, once you accumulate over 10,000 hours in something, you become a master.
Right.
And that is what, when you see someone that can do things effortlessly, it's because they have so much invested time and energy and expertise and experience. And that's why they've made it to that level.
That's right.
Of mastery.
That's right. And but the thing is you can't look at what you're doing, the practice, as work. This is why your gift evolves around your interests. Because when you do what you love, you'll never work. And many people, when they do what they love, their skill, you begin to notice, their skill begins to go to an amazing and an exceptional level because of the amount of practice that they're getting. But the mindset towards the activity is that this is something I love. I'm not really practicing. I'm just operating inside of this gift. Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of it. So we're not trying to force someone to go and study a sales book. When you love what you do, I won't have to tell you to read it. You'll read it yourself. You'll ask me for book titles and for a book list.
Because it becomes your magnificent obsession.
That's right. I like that.
Okay, and so once we practice, what else do we need to do?
Well, after we practice, we have to use our gifts. Many people wait for a door to be open before they actually begin to use their gifts. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, they let that be the reason why they don't exercise it. So if you're a singer and you're waiting for, I have no place to sing. If you're a minister and you say, I have no place to minister or to preach, you're waiting on someone to give you an open door. Well, the great thing about our day and time that we live in is that with social media, you have a platform. If you're a singer, begin to record videos and put those videos on YouTube. If you're a minister, record yourself ministering somewhere. You don't have to have an audience of a great many. People need to know what you can do, and you have to do it all the time. I recently heard Kanye West in an interview say that if it had not been for a Run DMC to hear him rapping, he would not have got the breakthrough that he received. And he mentioned how he was rapping for many, many years and going everywhere. So the name of the game is exposure. And we have to find ourselves busy. Many of the people in Scripture, when they were called by God, were always busy. And whether or not you're spiritual or not, the moral is the same, that when you get busy doing it, what you're gifted in, that door will open. When success is when preparation meets opportunity.
Correct. I believe that. And so finding ways to get out there and to, if you can't find a door that's open, knock it down. And we're supposed to ask, seek, and knock until the door is open, correct?
That's right.
And I think that is really important because oftentimes you have so many prolific writers who are not writing. And they look and see a Sandra Rhimes who's on television writing shows like ER and Scandal and have all of these people on edge, on the edge of their sofas every single week, and they can't wait to see this story that she's written unfold. And her story is she was just a single mom who was at home. I believe she was unemployed and didn't know what to do, so she pulled out her computer and she started writing. So what is it that you can start to do? Maybe it's writing, maybe it's speaking, maybe it is launching a new business and figuring out how to get a great business plan or seeking investors for this brilliant idea and getting a patent. Whatever that is something that is up to you to get into the implementation of and to demonstrate what you are here to do. My grandmother said that an idle mind is the devil's workshop.
That's right.
So we need to
We gotta
be
stay busy.
about doing what our melody is and bringing it into manifestation and sharing it with the world.
And we must take it a day at a time, day by day. You must make a decision to go after your dream. Some days it rains. Some days the sun will shine, both naturally and figuratively. But you must determine, since you've made a decision, that I don't care whether it rains, whether it doesn't. I'm going after my dream. I'm going after my destiny. Whether the weather be cold or whether the weather be not. We will weather the weather no matter the weather, whether the weather be hot.
I love that. That's powerful. And so, is there one final step that we have, or have we covered all of the steps?
Those are all the steps.
Those are all the steps. So, the final step for me is to hear you and your gift and your melody. Can you please bless us with a beautiful closeout song?
You can't bring me down. I come too far and I won't stop now. You can't bring me down. No, 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 no. You can't bring me down.
Woo! That's it. Find your melody and get with Mr. Sean Mixon with a sense of urgency, because that's what he helps you to do. He is the melody maker.